This man had been parasitized by a magic bug, but before anyone could react, Mash pulled the bug out himself. Everyone was shocked when they saw this because even though Mash didn't have magic, he could still be parasitized by the magic bug, and it could even lead to his death. But the next moment, Mash suddenly spat something out of his mouth, leaving everyone in awe once again. They never expected that the magic bug would transform into a balloon dog and be spat out by Mash. Mash explained that he had tied it up in his mouth. They all found it almost impossible, but in the end, the deputy director was saved by Mash. However, Mash didn't help for free. Now that he had saved someone, Mash felt it was time for them to let him go. But as Mash was about to leave, Orteyer interrupted him. He said Mash still faced the death penalty, because that was the rule of the magic world. Orteyer wanted Mash to come with him, but Mash said he didn't want to go. Orteyer was speechless. It was the first time he had met someone so absurd. That was when Orteyer realized that talking alone wouldn't solve anything. He decided to use force. The next moment, Orteyer's body turned into sand and disappeared. By the time Mash realized what was happening, Orteyer had already pressed his wand to Mash's neck. At that moment, Mash suddenly remembered something Abyss had told him. The Able he defeated wasn't the real 3-mark reporter. The third mark had been artificially created. The true 3-mark reporter was far more terrifying than he had imagined. Just as Mash was about to be hit by Orteyer's sand attack, Rio suddenly intervened and stopped Orteyer. He had remained silent up to now, but seeing this, Orteyer had no choice but to stop. As they were arguing, a large sword suddenly landed between them. The familiar shape made Mash immediately think of someone. At that moment, all the seers turned to look at the sword. The principal rushed over and said that during Mash's interrogation about being unable to use magic, the seers had suddenly intervened in the matter. Mash hadn't even realized what was going on yet. The principal was confident that he could save Mash's life even among a group of seers. In this world, where everyone practiced magic, people like Mash who couldn't use magic were considered to have inferior bloodlines, and anyone caught would be sentenced to death. But now, the principal was determined to break this rule personally. After the principal announced that he would protect Mash, Rio revealed the reason. The principal was not only a former seer but also the strongest person in the magical world. Yet, despite his power, the principal wasn't arrogant. He explained that the fact that the Pure Root had sent envoys for Mash meant that Mash was indeed the key to the Pure Root. The principal didn't believe that being born without magic was a mistake. He believed values could change with history, and his intuition told him that Mash could one day break the conventions of this world. At that moment, Rain also stood up to express his support. He said that Mash had given him enough reason to trust him. This was from his personal perspective because of his younger brother. If it hadn't been for Mash, he wouldn't have known that his younger brother had been bullied by other students. But even so, the rules of the magical world couldn't be changed by just one sentence. Most of the seers were still opposed, especially Orteyer, who thought they should execute Mash immediately. He believed that the principal and Rain were simply blinded by personal feelings. Just then, the head of the trial stepped forward. The deputy director said that while he originally agreed with the seers, the problem was that it was this powerless person who had saved him. He pleaded with everyone to give Mash more time, saying that he would accept any punishment. After the deputy director finished speaking, the room fell silent. Orteyer had no choice but to compromise. He said there were two conditions. Mash was just a pawn in their fight against the Pure Root. The first was that Mash must act under their supervision, and the second was that Mash must show whether he had the strength to fight against the Pure Root. This all depended on whether he could become a candidate for the Seer of the Year. Just as Mash's trial was about to end temporarily, Mash suddenly raised his fist. He felt that just relying on these conditions wouldn't be enough.